It is September 15th. And you know what day it is? It's Women Empowerment Wednesday, y'all. It is also Hispanic Heritage Month. And what way to kick off celebrating the entire more than a month, which it should be more than a month, is to acknowledge some of the powerful women and men who have contributed to our society, our country, and our nation. So we want to highlight a couple just to get going before we get started with the show. We want to highlight one of our sponsors, actually, Juan and Marcella with Sky Builders. It is a construction company here in Central Florida with over 500 employees, and they are doing a phenomenal job with managing construction projects, and not only in Central Florida, but beyond. We also want to acknowledge Conchi Fernandez with CE Creative, as well as Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez is the epitome of what we think of business, right? Because this is Women Empowerment Wednesday and we discuss business. Jennifer Lopez started out as a backup dancer, and if you remember her from In Living Color, she used that opportunity to grow her brand, the Jennifer Lopez brand, and yes, it is a brand for clothing. She has sunglasses, hair care, skin care, and she sings, she dances, she's done shows in Vegas, but she's been able to catapult her brand and understanding what her brand was and then growing it. So when you think about a business strategy from our entrepreneurs, you definitely want to study Jennifer Lopez. Everything she does and everything she touches makes money, and it brings joy to her and her fans. Also, we want to be able to say this. I want to thank every Latina for their contributions, not only to the United States, but to the world. Each one of us brings in something that makes the world a better place. So when we talk about the fact that it's not a melting pot, it is not. And if you think it's a melting pot, that's not the case. What we have is a tossed salad. And all of us are in this bowl together. And every ethnicity brings a different layer of richness and texture and taste to this salad. So for my spicy tomatoes, I say, let's celebrate. Let's have a good day. Let's kick it off today and let's enjoy it for the next couple of weeks. We're going to go into our show. Today we have 3 very powerful women, and you'll get to know them. And so we'll be right back after our sponsor break with Duke Energy. Thank you, Tanja Graham and the team at Duke Energy for supporting Women Empowerment Wednesday for a second year. We're very much appreciative. We'll be right back.
We power the lives of our customers and communities. We provide light, heat, comfort, safety, and we enable our customers to live their lives. We're also in a period of transformation, requiring us to find new ways to deliver our service and placing a premium on our creativity and ability to innovate. Having diverse voices at the table will bring forward the best solutions and position us to succeed.
Some advice I would give other women that's looking to come into the energy industry: you would never know that you can if you never try.
Honestly, I really like the challenge for women. You know, sometimes they are not encouraged as much in the science field. I just kind of wanted to prove to myself and to everybody that I could do it.
Being a minority in an industry, because I'm a female, it just makes me that much more uniquely valuable.
When we put ourselves in a box, we don't do anything for ourselves, and we don't do anything for the females who come behind us.
Think outside the box, because the box is boring.
At Duke Energy, we're working to improve female and minority representation in an industry that's often underrepresented.
I'm the only female that works in the mechanical maintenance shop. My mom has always told me I can do anything I put my mind to.
You have to believe you can do this job. You can do and be anything at the company. We are seeing more and more of females in our industry.
It's important that we continue to love on one another, support one another in this industry.
We have a lot of diversity in what we do as a company, and we need to embrace that.
Be yourself, and don't be afraid to be yourself.
Pursue every opportunity that you can to learn as much as you can.
Take those risks, take those opportunities to be able to build a career that is something that you feel very good about.
Each one of us brings something unique, and when you put each one of us together, the picture you create is much better than if each one of us brought the same exact piece to the puzzle.
And we're back. Thank you again to Duke Energy for being our title sponsor again for the second year. So today we have a phenomenal financial wizard, and her name is Tarsha Jacobs, and she's a CPA, and she's with us here. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I read over your bio, and it's very impressive. So I know the ladies that are watching will be impressed with you and your journey. So let's get right into it.
Okay.
Share with us who you are and a brief overview of your entrepreneur story.
Oh, I love that. My name is Tarsha Jacobs. Of course, I own Tarsha R. Jacobs CPA PLLC. I am just a stone's throw, away from here, just outside of downtown Orlando. I've been in businesses, this is my 9th year. And you know, it's funny because when we were talking earlier and you were talking about that entrepreneurial journey and kind of how you got there, it really took me back. And I always thought that, this was something that I decided to do, but I didn't know it was something that was really in me from the start. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. She owned her own cafe, small town in Eustis. Everyone knew who she was. And so from a young age, I worked there. I sold candy before school. I sold candy.
You know what it's like.
I know what it's like after school. My mom worked there for a little bit. I used to help close the place. So I really didn't think about that until later, that it was really inside of me. But just kind of fast forward though, I was working for a kind of medium-sized CPA firm in Winter Park. And I really learned the tools of how to really run my own business. I wasn't just working to earn that paycheck. I had to do everything. It's like I had my own little book of business. I had to go out and get clients. I had to service them. I had to plan the job from start to finish. Staffing, budgeting, billing, collections. I did it all. And so it really gave me the tools that I needed. And so when I got to a point where I felt like, okay, I'm not gonna go any further here. What's my next step? I decided that I wanted to start my own business, go out and do this on my own, use those same skills that I'm giving them and helping them make money to do it for myself. And so it was a hard leap. I remember calling a friend because I had talked to her about the fact that I was going to do this, and I'm sitting in my office, I got my resignation letter, ready to go, and I'm shaking, right, just like that. I'm nervous. Do I really want to do this? Exactly. Do I really want to do this? And I called her, and I said, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. And she said, yes, you can. You can. Put on your big girl. Walk down that hall. Thank you. And get it done. So that's what I did. I have not looked back. It's been an incredible journey for me, and I just love it. I enjoy my work so much more now. I'm
much more now.
Yes.
And that's the key. I want entrepreneurs to know that you're going to have good days, bad days, because I'm sure you have them, and days that you're like, okay, now why did I do this again? But you enjoy it overall much more now.
Oh, absolutely.
So what I heard you just say, which was phenomenal, is that there were things and seeds that were planted in you. And to my entrepreneurs, if you think back, growing up, there were seeds that were planted in you that are ready to blossom. And when you realize that those seeds are ready to blossom, it's because you had the intellectual property that you needed to be successful.
Exactly.
You worked for someone else. You learned maybe some operational procedures. You learned what to do and what not to do.
Right.
You had some experience under your belt.
Exactly.
And then you had a trusted friend. We all have a trusted friend. It's like, go girl.
Right.
No, you can do it.
Yes, and you need those. You need those.
Yes.
The ones that'll say, okay, you know what, this is a dumb idea.
This is dumb.
I love you, girl, but no. But the ones that are really going to be there
cheering
in your corner, cheering for you and saying, okay, Tarsha, you can do this.
You can do it.
You've done what you need to do. This, like you said, the seeds are planted, they're ready to bloom. Go get it done.
Every entrepreneur has that same moment where they work for someone and they're like, what's next?
Yes.
They look around, they do inventory, and they go, what's next?
Right.
And and most entrepreneurs don't want the job of the person they're reporting to at that company. They want something else, something that they can be responsible for. So I think that's very interesting, and I stopped a moment before we go to the next question, because it's those moments that women are wrestling with.
And if I can add, I like how you said I've worked for someone, I've gotten the experience. I talk to people and just kind of in that whole theme of giving back. I've talked to young people that say, what do you want to do? When you get out of college and I want to own my own business. Okay, yes, right? That's a great, you don't want to, rain on the parade. It's a great goal, but you've got to go get some experience. Because what are you going to go and tell people? I just got out of school. I'm going to own my own business. What can you do for them when you really don't have the experience? And so that's where I kind of have to to do some mentoring there, take a step back. Okay, let's talk about what you do well. Let's talk about some experience and how you're going to get to the point where, because basically, even though you may be selling a widget or you're selling a service, you're selling yourself.
Correct.
So you've got to kind of have that backstory and that experience in order to go out there and sell that service to someone, right?
Yeah.
So,
and you need to know your competition.
Right.
Right? Or even if they're not your competition, your allies.
Right.
But you need to know how they're doing things.
Right.
So that you can make sure you can match it at minimum.
Exactly.
And then exceed it.
Exactly.
With your own intellectual properties, right? What makes you different.
Exactly.
Your differentiators.
That's it.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll go to the next question. Tell us about how you discovered your passion. Because everyone's not good with numbers and math.
No. Well, I discovered it pretty early. Always loved math, always loved numbers. But it was in 10th grade, I took my first accounting class and didn't know anything about accounting, didn't know one CPA ever, right?
Wow.
I grew up in a cafe,
Wow.
you know, doing those
Yeah.
kind of things. My mom worked for a manufacturing company and things like that for years. So I never really was exposed to it until 10th grade. And the moment I loved it. You know, I think it's one of those, you're either going to love those debits and credits or you're going to say, okay, this is not my thing. I'm going to pay someone to do it.
It was not my thing.
And that's not a problem, right? That's why I'm employed, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, I loved it from the very beginning. It was, I need more. And so that 15, I said, I'm going to be an accountant. Didn't know what a CPA even was yet. When I went to college, my mom said, are you sure this? Yes, this is what I want to do. And then as soon as I was exposed to it in college, I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. Great thing about accounting is just so many fields you can kind of go into, right? So then when you're going to college, that's when you're learning, okay, what do I want to do exactly? And for me, it was basically, unfortunately, it was, okay, who's going to give me a job out of school? That's kind of how I fell into it, you know, not afraid, not ashamed to say that.
What jobs are available?
What's available, exactly. So I fell into auditing. That's what I did, and that's what I still do today. And that's how I kind of discovered that. It was really early on, and I love it still.
Yeah, that's good that you, and that's the thing about, I tell entrepreneurs all the time is, whatever your passion is, your passion fuels your purpose. And if you're passionate about it, you'll love doing it. Not that you want every day is going to be perfect, because every day
No, ma'am.
is not perfect.
Correct.
But if you love what you do, you'll get up every day the next day and you'll give it a renewed you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's good that you were able to learn early on what your passion was.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing that people need to spend the most time is learning your passion.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
So you work with all types of businesses, but in particular, I want us to talk about startups. Okay.
Yes.
So can you give me 3 strategies or best practices
Okay.
for startups? And I know that, and I want them to understand this because when we start a business, entrepreneurs, we get so excited. I got this idea, widget, gidget, like you said earlier.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna sell it and make millions of dollars. Okay. But then there's some things that you need to have lined up in order.
Right.
Right?
Right,
So
exactly.
what are some things that you've been able to see that small businesses starting up do not do or that they should do to be successful administrative, so with those debits and credits
Exactly.
and reporting and all those different things?
That's it right there. Debits and credits and reporting. So the first thing is, you know, they don't plan for the business part of it. They plan for the go out, get the business, sell things, sell services. I'm going to make money, but then okay, how are you going to bill? What about your collections? What, you know, are you going to accept credit? Just small things that they just kind of fail to do. Go set up a separate bank accounts, even your business structure. That's where it starts. So that's what I say. There's the first thing.
Yes.
How does it start? So either if you're a one-person shop, you know, what does that look like? What is it going to mean for me for reporting, for tax compliance? Right?
yes.
Big thing, right?
Big thing.
That we don't do. So that's one. And then 2, okay, then let's get the legal formation ready, get you set up. And then the next thing is, okay, how am I going to account for all this money I have?
Right.
Yeah, all these millions of dollars you're going to make. Whatever, you know, how am I
All
going to
these
account
millions of
for it,
dollars.
right? So then that's the second step I tell people all the time. So I just had 2 of these appointments last week. Okay, so we talk about what do you do and how you form your business. Okay, how are you accounting for what you have now? Well, you know, you got a box of receipts or you got an Excel spread. No, okay, let's go beyond that. So it's just simple tools though. And so my thing is, especially with small businesses, how we can make it as simple as possible so that you can properly have reporting. You can have, you know, reporting not just outside, but even within the company. How do you know if you're doing well? How do you know if this widget or this service is making money if you're not tracking anything, right? And then the other thing for small business is that, you know, keeping on top of it, right? So, you know, whether I need to go and get someone like, you know, you need to hire someone like myself.
And you must have a CPA.
I agree.
Okay. An attorney, a
Second
CPA, and a business coach.
There you go.
You must have.
Those are 3. Exactly. I totally agree with that. But it was then, so as the business girl, what I see the failing is this. They didn't really plan for it. They have no way of recording and keeping up with things. And then comes down the line, the business is growing. I want to go to a bank and get a loan, or I want to do this and make these certain moves. You need to have financial statements at a touch of a button.
Yes.
If you're doing it right.
Yes.
You don't need to be able, and I've had people to do this. I need you to come, I need financial statements, and you give me just a list or a box of receipts or just, whatever.
The shoebox.
Right? How do I do that? So getting those things organized from the beginning, to me, are those key things that I think a lot of people just kind of gloss over. It's all about, okay, I'm just going to make this money and that's it. And great, but have the tools. If you don't have them, which you're not expected to, right? Correct. You're the entrepreneur, you have the great idea.
Correct.
You're going to go out and sell, service, whatever. Then have those people behind you to support the business, right? That lawyer,
experts.
that CPA, like you said, that business coach, that are the expert in those fields, that are going to help you to stay, one, compliant, keep you out of jail, tax,
right.
And then keep you to a point where you have the tools that you need to make good management decisions, right? A lot of times we have entrepreneurs, but maybe not as good as managing the side. So that means get someone to do that.
That's right.
Get someone to help you with that. So those are my kind of key strategies for business, right? I hope that was.
No, it was good because with businesses or anyone that has a business, say you are selling jewelry, right? Your expertise is in marketing and selling jewelry, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to be also proficient in, your bookkeeping or your marketing or your or a lot of the other different components, operations, financial planning. Right? So you have to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And like look in the mirror and say, okay, I know I could sell some jewelry.
Right. Right.
But as I'm selling that jewelry, am I accounting for the sales?
Right.
Am I reporting the sales to the IRS? Because they will get their money.
Oh, yes.
Plus fees.
Exactly. Fees, penalties, and all. Exactly. And one thing I learned, one other little tip that I learned this from another entrepreneurial symposium that I went to, and the gentleman said, he was looking at how do I get my money the fastest from my customer to my bank account. And I thought, that's a great way to see it because, of course, small businesses, one of your concerns might be cash flow, right? So if I'm out there, I'm selling that jewelry, but it takes me a while to invoice, to get from, sale to payment to that money get into my bank account. So even thinking about things like that and how you're going to account for point of sale transactions, or if you're in a business like I was and it's service and it's, it takes me 30 to 60 days to get my money. So then how do I pay myself if that's the case? So even thinking about that, planning for your cash flow is very important. And especially if this is like, for me, this was my main, breadwinner for my job. It wasn't something I did on the side. No. So it's like, okay, I got to feed my family with the salary.
And I got to get it right.
So I got to get it right. So, how do I do that? How do I plan for that? How do I make sure my cash flow is going to be what I need to keep my family sustained?
Yeah, and that's a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, you're built for it tough. So I know that you've been doing very well. That's why it's important for women business owners, whether you need that to sustain your family, the breadwinner, you're not the breadwinner, but you contribute to your household. What tools do you need to be successful so that you can trickle that success to your family, right? And to your kids and your grandkids. And it's being as lean as possible and as streamlined as possible, and hiring CPAs like yourself to make sure that your business is operating at its maximum proficiency.
Right.
And that's why I am the biggest proponent of hiring a CPA because do it, please. So what are some 2 industry updates or trends that women business owners should really be aware of?
So in my industry, of course, in accounting, one of the things that's changing so much is just the use of technology. And I think that's everything. But for us, I think about when I first started in my first job out of college, we were still using this green 15-column paper where, I got check for $100, I got to go over here and record that, right? Yeah. And then I got to split it between these departments. So we go from that. Even my first job in doing auditing, we were still doing it on paper.
Wow.
Even though we did things in Excel and Word, we print it out, we'd staple it and put our, all of these things. And then you go from that to now a paperless auditing environment. And now it is now using this automation so much more in our industry and accounting. moving even from things that are done by in person, personal touch, to things that can be done in a computer. They load those accounting regulations and financial statements forms in there, and then they can spit numbers in their transaction, and boom, you got a set of financial statements. So now it's moving to you've got to know more than just debit and credits, right? You've got to know about business analytics and things like that, and what you can bring to help businesses, and support them. So that's moving forward. Even the CPA exam is changing, it beyond the core of accounting, tax, and audit, right? That's all we know, accounting, tax, and audit. Now it's technology kind of melded in between all of those things, getting into core functions, and then, what's going to be your focus. They're moving towards that now. So, I think that is something that we all need to kind of make sure we evolve with that, process if we're going to be in this accounting field, to know, what technology is, going to be used for, what it can bring to a business, how you can, use it to understand businesses better, analyze their numbers and things like that, and give them more of that kind of high-level service, not just the debits and credits. The computers can do the debits and credits right now, right? Yeah. So now you've got to kind of move beyond that.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking, God, I love her energy and your excitement, and just like how you're giving all the information, right? And that speaks to your desire to want to make sure that you do the job well, because you educate yourself. And then you're making sure that these small and diverse businesses and all of your clients are growing, right? So I don't know if y'all heard how she was talking. I was like, oh, okay, that's another one, and this, okay. So I was like, that's why I have a CPA, because some of this stuff I don't know, So, okay, tell us about how you manage, and listen, there's no such thing as balance, right? There's not balance. There's no balance. So tell us how you're able to manage your personal and professional responsibilities.
Sometimes not well, sometimes better than others. Last year for me, was one of those times that it was really challenging. Even though with the pandemic and a lot of businesses being shut down, I had a lot of growth. And so I went from, managing 3 people to managing 6 people, really. So me taking a step back from being involved with not just the day-to-day production, but just managing people, managing their time, managing their assignments, got kind of difficult for me. So, really, to me, it's about that planning. For me, I'm kind of like, let's make a list and check it off, and give myself that time for recovery. Yeah. So, one of the things that I did during the pandemic, this is kind of really something that's different for an accountant, is I became a yoga instructor. Right? I'd always been done yoga. Yoga's really good for just meditation and relaxation. Well, that's something I'd always done. But the yoga is something. Your
resume, and I'm like, marathons.
Yes. That's my therapy time, though. People say, how do you find time and energy? That's the time I get my therapy. We call it pavement therapy. I get my time to renew, whether I'm either listening to something while I'm on the pavement or just kind of listening to nature. Yeah. That's how I renew. That's my balance. I love that. I'm active in running, swimming, biking. Yoga was something new, even instructing it. So that's kind of how I keep myself renewed, how I keep my mental health going. Is I've got to kind of step away from that, give myself that chance to go recharge, and even though of course I'm expending the energy in running and biking or whatever, but it gives me my time away from numbers and managing people to kind of get back and reset, renew myself and my strength, so I'll be better the next day.
It's good that you know that you're the major component in your life. And it's weird to say that, but a lot of times with the women entrepreneurs, we make everybody and everything a priority.
Put your mask on first.
Put your seatbelt on first. Get your oxygen flowing first.
Learn that early, right? If I'm depleted, I'm not taking care of me, then my family, my friends, my other activities that I do are all going to fail.
I love that.
Because I'm depleted. So I learned that lesson years ago. Put your mask on first.
And it's okay. It's okay to put your mask on first.
Definitely.
Find out whatever it is that brings you joy, renews you, recenters you. You know what I mean? And then make time to do it.
Yes.
And make time to do it frequently.
Yes.
So it shouldn't be every 3 months, every 6 months.
Right.
It should be something that you do several times a week.
Right.
So do you do yoga like several times a week, or you do things several times just to make sure that you're staying connected to yourself?
Oh, definitely. So I either one of those activities I do at least usually about 5 or 6 times a week.
I love
depending on if I'm training for something. So I'm running, I'm swimming, I'm biking. I love the to the solitude of swimming as well,
Oh.
right? Because when you're running, usually I'm listening to a book or listening to music, but when you're in the water, all you hear is kind of the water.
Yeah.
So it's very calming as well.
I love it.
And then the yoga, is something that I do usually 3 times a week or so, if I'm teaching, maybe more. So that's my me time, right?
love
Close
it.
the door. I created a yoga space in my home
You
during the
better do it.
pandemic.
Okay. You better create space.
Yes, created my own little quiet space. And so, even if it's just going in there and sitting in a pose, people think sometimes it has to be movement. Sometimes it's just, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to get into a nice quiet pose.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to sit there and renew.
Yeah.
So yes, I do create that time for myself. I learned it early, though.
Yeah.
I really started doing it very early. One of the things about accounting and this practice, it can be very stressful, just like anything else.
Yeah.
But to me, when I worked in public accounting, it's all about long hours and things like that. So creating that time for me to renew was very important.
Yeah.
And so I started it very early.
Good. And you look beautiful.
Yes.
Your skin is beautiful. Y'all, she's a beautiful woman. So we're going to get ready to go into our next commercial break. But I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you for
welcome. Thank you
reminding
having me.
us to keep ourselves first and to work hard and to jump.
Yes.
Just
Take
jump.
that leap of
Just
faith.
take that leap of faith.
Yes. It'll be rewarding.
Yeah. So what's the best way that they can get in contact with you?
Well, my website is trjacobscpa.com. My email is tarsha.jacobs@trjacobscpa.com. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, any other, I'm on Twitter. So yeah, just reach out to me at any of those
and we'll provide
capacities.
your information too.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here
for
today.
having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to go into our next commercial break, which is Competitive Edge Partners. Thank you, Debbie Rodriguez and your whole entire team over at Competitive Edge. We'll be right back.
We forgot about the trades. Industry leaders like myself and others started to say, okay, well, we've got to do something to fix this problem, because if we don't do it now, we're going to be in this situation for the next 20, 30 years. If we better our industry, then we all win. The United States itself could not be where it is today if it wasn't for the construction industry. Our education system started to focus on college instead of just focusing on career paths. If you don't know what you want to do, why don't you figure it out and then decide whether the college route is your route or a blue-collar worker is your route. There's nothing wrong with being a blue-collar worker. What can we do as a school system? What can we do as an industry to start getting these people that don't necessarily have a career path? How do we get them into our industry? If we all band together and work together for one common goal, couldn't we change the way that this community is? And that's really how I built this forum. Everybody was talking about it, but yet nobody was doing anything about it. And I was really just the one that said, hey, I think this could work. And let's be real, I mean, most of the time somebody's given up on them. But I don't think this industry gives up on anybody. The reason why I came into this industry is because every day was different. And not only was every day different, but every day was different and you could see what you accomplished. And to me, there was no better career path than being able to walk away from a building and be like, oh, look, I did all of this today. This is about us. This is about our community. This is about changing people's lives and teaching them something that they may have not had the opportunity to, because that's just not what their upbringing was. Changing people's lives is it.
All right, we're back. Thank you again, Competitive Edge Partners and Debbie Rodriguez, for sponsoring Women Empowerment Wednesday. She's our sponsor the first year. This is her first year, and we're excited that she's able to support us. So we're here with Lila Jaber, and I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So we're gonna get right into it because you have a very prolific resume. I read over it and I was like, oh, I'm taking notes. I'm like, oh, and she did this and she did that. Okay, so, and in an industry that you don't see a lot of women, so we're gonna talk about it. Please tell us about yourself and how did you get into the field that you're in?
Thank you. Well, first, Kimberly, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for what you do to empower women.
Thank you.
It matters. It really, really matters. So about me, I went to law school, first generation to go to college and law school. Thank you. It was very important to my parents. My father had a 5th grade education. My mother was not allowed to go to school, so it was certainly a big deal when I did. And law school took me to the Public Service Commission, where I served in that state agency for a number of years, including getting appointed by then Governor Bush for 2 terms to the commission.
I worked for Jeb Bush.
Well, there you go.
And Colleen Castile. And I used to
we met. There was no way. There's no way we did not meet because she was
FAMU. I worked for her in her cabinet affairs office.
And that's when I served. So Colleen, so Colleen was the cabinet aide, and
she was
another powerful woman who empowers women.
Yes.
And so I was appointed by Jeb to the PSC. And for those viewers who don't know what the Public Service Commission is, it's one of the most important agencies in the state. It regulates the telecommunication, at the time, the telecommunications industry and electric and natural gas and private water companies. So very quickly I was able to use a background in business and accounting and finance and public administration and law to serve the constituents of the state of Florida. But that gave me a specialty in utility regulation. From there, in private practice, I was able to use both my state relationships and background in public affairs to consult to companies and individuals who wanted to do business with Florida. So with the left hand, I could consult to utility companies on all things Public Service Commission and helping them be more successful before the agency. But with the right hand, I was helping companies outside of the state come into the state when my governor was governor. So it became a wonderful opportunity to really recruit others to join in the 2 firms where I practiced. And in about almost 3 years ago, I was approached by Chesapeake Utilities, who said, come on the board. We want you to serve as a regulatory expert on our board of directors. And it's at that point I changed careers again and opened my own consulting firm. So it's a long history of 20 years, and I just feel old now. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You have a lot of information so you can reach back and help us grow. Thank you. And I don't think people, and I don't want to run past the robust, the richness of what you've been able to do in leadership and in areas that women are not typically in, right? First of all, to be appointed by a governor is volumes. And I remember, and one thing about Jeb Bush that I loved was that he really was about people being able to have the experience and your intellectual property to do the job. Right. That was a big thing for him. Exactly right. Can you do the job well? That's right. Everything else he wasn't really concerned about because he was a businessman.
That's right.
He understood business and he understood what Florida needed to be the best state holistically, but in particular with business. So I remember things like the Blair Witch Project and some of the other things that came through his administration.
IT Florida, the Internet Task Force, and what Julia was able to accomplish with his leadership. Yes.
A lot of different.
Another role model there and mentor, Julia Johnson, who served on the commission before me and was tapped by Jeb to lead the IT Florida Task Force. So, when you focus on smart people who can do the job, diversity does take care of itself. I remember having the privilege of introducing him at a Arab American Community Center function. And one of the audience members, I tell the story at my own forum, which I know we'll talk about in a bit, but I tell this story openly. One of the people in the audience, an Arab American man, stood up and said, "Governor, we want to thank you for appointing our sister Leila Jabr to the Public Service Commission. I think she's the first Arab American in a state agency. We really appreciate that you did that." And the governor never missed a beat, and he said, "Well, thank you for that, but I appointed her to the PSC because she's smart."
That's it.
And And in his mind, you know, it's not mutually exclusive. Yes, I came from a unique, diverse background, but then the intelligence factor and the education experience matters.
It matters.
And you know, the message, right, to our diverse brothers and sisters is education matters.
It matters.
It matters, and it improved not just my life, but the lives of all of my family members, you know?
Yeah.
And that also comes with a responsibility.
A great responsibility.
Right? For me and you to pay it forward.
Yeah, to whom much is given, much is required.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm even more energized this here is talking to you versus reading your resume. But one of the things that's important to our entrepreneurs and to those in leadership when you either own a business or you're running a company is to make sure you hire people who are qualified to do the job and do the job well. And then they will carry on your brand and your
Absolutely.
legacy. So as we're
Absolutely.
sitting here talking about Jeb Bush, we're speaking highly of his legacy because he hired some phenomenal women like ourselves.
Yes, he did. It changed our lives forever.
It really did. It really did. It really did.
But I think the way we show him our gratitude is to not lose sight of the fact that one person can change someone else's trajectory.
It can.
And so I spend every day, whether it's because of Governor Bush or our parents or the legacy we know we have, if you help someone each day,
yes,
imagine how you influence the world and how you influence the profession and how you influence your own children and family members. It matters. And the beauty of it is it doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah. It doesn't.
More often than not, it's consistent with our business
Yes,
portfolio
it
anyway.
is. Anyway.
And what do we have to lose?
I mean, really,
What do
to
we have
give
to
back.
lose? Yeah.
Come on. So let's talk about business and your business and the services that you provide.
Wonderful, thank you. So I did start the consulting company, Jaber Group, Lila Jaber Consulting, and one of the arms is the Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum. So out of the forum, around 2015, when I knew that I could personally and professionally try to influence the makeup of energy companies and certainly at the management level and maybe at the corporate table, I brought the highest ranking women together in an annual forum each year and put them on the stage where they could talk about their company, what their role is at their company, with the caveat that they have to share one personal story at least, because our tagline, our mission, is to inform, inspire, motivate.
That's right.
So when we share our personal story, it's
That's
our
right.
hope, it's our hope that young lady sitting in the audience, that student, she might not be the top A student, she might not be the 4.0 plus student, but she's looking for that role model or that person that might inspire her so that she sees if Lila can do that, if Kimberly can do that, I can do that too, because we have a similar background, a similar desire.
Yeah.
So that's the forum. We're in our 6th year.
I've
the
heard about it.
title
It's well
sponsors,
received, yeah.
and I look forward to having you this
I
year
would love
there.
to participate.
Our title sponsors are Duke Energy and
Tanja
Florida
Brown,
Power
yeah.
and Light, and my law firm, my previous law firm, Gunster Law Firm, who without, you have to give gratitude
Yes.
where it's
due.
deserved. And I started the forum during my time at the Gunster firm, and the head of the firm there, Bill Perry, said we had him at hello. It's these are issues very important to him as well. So
thank you for lobbying for that, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the consulting business, it's exactly what I shared with you earlier, helping new companies come into the state that need political and economic development relationships.
Yeah.
So never a dull moment.
And no day is the same.
No, no.
What is your business' biggest pain point, and how did you identify it, and how are you using it to grow your business?
Yeah, great question. The biggest pain point is what you would expect, breaking into an industry that's very male-dominated, especially with new companies. They don't know you as well as the Floridians might, so it's proving that you have the relationships. But once you do, you have a client for life or a friend for life.
Yeah. And so when you have the issue of people not knowing your brand because they're not from Florida, what are some things that you do? And this is for entrepreneurs who are breaking into a new market, right? Or starting a business, and people don't know their brand. So what is one tool or tip that you can give them to be able to grow their brand and have brand recognition, and with then what comes trust?
Absolutely. So always when you are approaching a company, clearly references and referrals matter. Listening to the company that's approached you to determine where there might be some commonality in relationships. So if Kimberly approaches me and she was appointed by Governor Bush as well, then I know I've got a commonality with Governor Bush, and maybe a letter of recommendation from that governor might be helpful. Or in my case, a client who knows another client, and yeah, of course, that's who you need to hire. You know, companies that I represent are very generous with giving referrals and references and picking up the phone and saying, this is what she's done for me. Because obviously, especially in the legal world where you've got attorney-client confidentiality, it's not always comfortable for me to say what I've done, right? It's not my
you don't toot your horn.
privilege, it's the client. So when you have that commonality, that's a good tip, I think, for someone starting out. The second, you know, it's especially on the consulting side, if you have to do something as a courtesy to prove that you have that relationship, maybe it's a meet and greet lunch, so that the person then can talk about what your capabilities are. That's an investment, time well spent. And of course, you have what you and I would call branding and marketing. The testimonials matter.
They matter.
They matter.
Relationships matter.
Relationships matter, absolutely.
And
we're in that business.
We're in a relationship. Every business is the relationship business.
Absolutely.
Right? And so as an entrepreneur, it's very important, or someone who's working for a corporation, don't always focus on the CEO.
Right.
Because a janitor probably is just as influential.
Absolutely.
Because
the secretaries,
the most influential.
The secretaries,
Administrative assistant is the most influential. Right? And so, but also just looking at that, you're developing relationships long term.
That's right.
Not just getting in, let me just know you know me, I know you know me, and then move on. But actually having something that you can sustain over a period of time, that you can call them 5 years later and say, hey.
That's right. And they might be the CEO then.
They might be.
I think consultants do make the mistake of thinking they have to go to the CEO all of the time or that president all the time, when reality is that CEO or president is going to push you down to the appropriate staff person anyway. But the other thing is, especially in today's world, corporate America, the CEOs are changing. So that the janitor, the secretary, you know, do not underestimate
Please
people.
don't.
we are examples of that, right?
Because I was an intern.
It's okay to be underestimated. It's okay to be underestimated. It makes us stronger.
It does.
But no one should be underestimated. And one person's secretary today is someone else's CEO tomorrow.
I love that. That's a whole word. That's a whole word right there. Yeah. When I worked for Jeb Bush and I was an intern, but I always felt like I was a member of the team.
Yes.
It wasn't partisan. It wasn't Democrat, Republican, Independent. I felt like I was a member of the team. I went to briefings at the Mansion. I went to Christmas parties at the Mansion. He would see me in the hallway and he'd go, "Your hair is different today. It's kind of funky." I was like, "You like it?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right." You know, it was those little interactions that I felt I was just fresh out of FAMU.
That's right.
But I felt like I was a member of the family. Right? And I felt valued. So we must make sure that we make everyone that works for us feel valued, but also you make the person that's working at a company feel valued as well. Because you never know. That little intern, the little engine that can now have Women Empowerment Wednesday, right?
And isn't that what we learned when we were grade school, right?
Yeah.
Treat everyone with respect.
That's right.
But someplace along the way, it's forgotten in the business world.
It has.
And it really ought not be.
Yeah, and it should come back, So tell me about, other than your mom, right? So, and you can tell me about your mom, it can be your mom, because I think this is phenomenal, the mighty oak that sits before me. You know what I mean? Honestly, no.
I've been called lots of things.
No, but when you think about an oak tree, right? They are one of the only plants that live years and they grow and they expand over time, right? And so when I think about the seed that your mom planted and your dad planted, right? But we're talking about women in particular. And then you sitting on these boards and you having all of these different leadership roles. Like, you are the biggest hope and dream that your mom could have ever had.
Thank
right?
you. Thank you.
So tell me about a female icon, either personal or professional, that you look up to that has inspired you.
You're right. I would have said my mom for all of the reasons you've hit on. So a couple of people, I would say I've always admired who I consider a sister of mine, Simone Marstiller, who you'll recognize her name as well. Simone and I went to law school together, different times, but just the epitome of professional strength. I tease her about being every agency head secretary. She's had every agency, including serving on the First District Court of Appeal. But an immigrant, had a child at a young age, and I'm hoping she's someone you'll interview in the future. But
I'd love to.
But just working in multiple administrations and really serving as a role model to people like you and I. So a very strong lawyer, policy maker, but bringing it back to family because it's my core. How can you not? How can you not? My sister's a 3-time breast cancer survivor, so the strength, your question, the personal strength when I see her currently now in her 3rd battle, I think it gives us perspective.
Yeah, it really does.
Nothing is more important than faith and family.
That's it.
So that perspective, I stayed with her last night and to watch that strength. How can I not?
How can you not?
How can you not focus on, sister and mother? The mother, it wasn't just that she didn't go to school, Kimberly, wasn't allowed to go to school. We owned a music store in Sanford, Florida. We all now know where Sanford is, right? When I was growing up, I would have to explain where Sanford was.
Yeah, no, we know where Sanford is.
Yeah, for tragic reasons, but it was the best place for me to grow up because what an example of diversity. Well, we owned the black music store in Sanford, Florida. And my mother, who could not speak English or read or write, the community would walk in and call our mom. So I thought I had this extended family. Exactly. And that, I think of that. So I get asked all the time, why are you the way you are and why are you adaptable? And I'm like, no, I don't adapt. This is
who I am.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
And so I do think about her daily and I think about Sanford daily.
Yeah.
We knew the DJs, right?
Yeah.
So like people would come in and sing lyrics of the song for us and we could tell them who it was.
Wow.
So that's how you start. It's people.
It's people. It's people, it's experiences
Yeah.
that last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Is there
my pleasure. Thank you. The forum, which you're going to come to, is October 27th through the 29th in Orlando.
All right.
And people can register at flwomenenergy.com.
FL Women in Industry.
In Energy.
In Energy.
Yeah, flwomenenergy.com.
And we'll put it as an overlay.
Perfect.
So people
Perfect.
can do it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we crossed the halls, I'm sure, in the Capitol.
Oh, absolutely.
In the late 90s.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we did.
All right. So how can people get in contact with you?
Lila Jaber at lilajaber.com.
Good.
Lila
All right.
Jaber at lilajaber.com.
Is there a charge that you would like to leave our women across the world?
You can do it. Take the risks. Don't let anyone say you cannot do something. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Yeah, if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you back.
All right, we're going to go into our next sponsor break, which is Sky Builders. Thank you, Juan and Marcella, for sponsoring Women Empowerment Wednesday, an amazing couple and a phenomenal construction company. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Sky Builders USA.
My name is Juan Velez.
And my name is Marcela Restrepo.
We are the owners of Sky Builders USA.
And we are so proud to be a finalist of the Don Quixote Awards.
Sky Builders USA is a general contracting company that specializes in drywall, stucco, and exterior wall cladding. In 2008, Juan and Marcela launched the company from their home. With help from Prospera, it quickly grew, achieving minority business certifications and winning contracts with local government. Since then, Sky Builders USA has participated in nearly 350 projects throughout Central Florida and provided work to more than 1,300 employees and subcontractors. Some of its projects include work on the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, Valencia College, and Southeastern University in Lakeland. With an emphasis on client satisfaction, Sky Builders USA is reaching for the sky and building the American dream.
All right, we're back. Thank you, Sky Builders, for your sponsorship. We're now joined by Dr. Sandra Dunbar Smalley. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're going to go into our first question. Tell us about yourself and how did you get here in this phenomenal place?
Yeah, a blessed journey, really.
Yeah.
My parents migrated from Barbados very early on in our family story. And my dad really tried for 10 years to get here. We ended up in California for him to go to school. And that's where I was raised. And I'd have to say, with the strongest of parents, particularly my mother, that just said, this is our journey,
yes,
and you're going to continue it in just their words and their actions. So from a very early age, I knew I had to become something and be somebody.
Be somebody.
They instilled that in us.
Yes.
So really firm believers in education, making the difference in your life. So in high school, I decided to be an occupational therapist. I stuck with that goal.
Wow.
And in that journey, I did graduate school when no one around me was doing it. My parents really supported that. And then I decided I want to teach. And in teaching, it required a doctoral degree.
Yeah.
So I chose somewhere to teach that really enabled me to be able to get a doctoral degree on their dime. Which was so helpful,
Yes.
helpful to come out without that student debt. But that degree is in public administration. So it shoved me to understand leadership and management, and that is really how I was able to get more of those types of jobs.
Wow. I think that, we talked about this earlier, is planting the seeds, right? And so, and looking back on your life, and when you get to a certain place, you look back on your life and you go, aha, that's how I got here, and that has influenced me to be here. And having parents who are really supportive of your education, not only in words but in action, right? And so that's how now you're in education and a leadership role.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So you are in a leadership role and you have a lot of responsibilities as a provost. What is that like? What does that mean, and what does that include?
It's different at every university, but at my faith-based university, it's really to establish and work with the president for his agenda. He has a big vision of growth, so I help with that, to expand programs, develop programs. We're a part of a larger healthcare corporation, so my job is to really move in and sit at the table with those corporate leaders. And then part of my role is to be Chief Academic Officer, so I ensure accreditations for all the professional programs and that we have quality programs with good rigor. I also am the listener for students when they have issues, so all of those things and much more.
Yeah, that's a lot, listening. The listening part with students is a lot.
Yes.
I attended college, and if we could have had listening parties, it would have been so much more helpful. That has to be that's such a wide gamut of roles and responsibilities. How do you manage it? I mean, you're advising the president, but you're also advising the students, and you're creating curriculum or reviewing to make sure it has a certain rigor, and you're making sure that you move the pendulum forward of his agenda.
Yes.
How?
It's a lot, and each morning I kind of take stock of what are the priorities for today. So you have to be a great organizer and a good time manager. And really, my mother taught me those skills. Even though I have a public administration degree, I would have to say that first teacher for being organized and having good time management was my powerful mother that said, you know, be able to know what you have to do today and then what can be shoved to the next day and then what's not important.
Right. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So so that's your day, right?
That's my day.
And then you have some other stuff, right?
I have some other stuff.
So let's talk about, like I'm still, my mind is blowing on just the day, right? So let's talk about the others. On top of the fact that you're a wife.
Yes.
And you have 2 sons.
One son and 1 stepdaughter.
And 1 stepdaughter. I saw 2 kids. I thought they both were boys. So that. Okay. Wait, there's more. And then there's Small World Solutions.
Yes.
So let's talk about Small World Solutions.
You know, a wonderful opportunity with my husband. It's a consulting firm that really focuses on enhancing the workplace environment through reduction of conflict. And who can't use that now?
Everybody.
So we work to improve morale, employee retention, workplace cohesion, reducing conflict and stress, all of those things. So my part is to really help people know how to lead well, where he does more of the conflict resolution, DE&I opportunities. So together we really complement each other. So I'm the COO of that company.
So how does that work? How does it work? And let's be really transparent. How does it work working with your husband?
Yeah, it started in 2018, this piece of our lives. And I'd have to say it works well because we both really set boundaries well. We like alone time and then we like work time and we have fun time. So we compartmentalize really easily, fortunately. When we need a break, we take it. Like the long weekend, we went away to the beach. So we really are able to walk away and take that break. I think that's what helps to make it work. The other thing that helps to make it work is that we complement each other's strengths. So what he might not be so good at, I use those organizational skills that my mother taught me to really step in and help to organize us and make sure the bids are being attended to and so forth. I do a lot of the writing for contracts and so forth. Whereas he can get in front of any audience and make them laugh. He's a good storyteller.
Right.
That's not my forte. So we really work well together.
That's good. Understanding the strengths of both partners, whether it's a marriage or it's just owning a company, understanding their strengths and then having a vision of where you want to take the company and then who can get us there with their capacity to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. I think COVID happened and I can imagine that your business took off more.
Yes.
Because we went from having what we thought was a normal life, driving into an office, working in an office, and then now we're working from home and managing people from home, and then, you know, the people that are here, how we're dealing with these new mindsets of their life and their space and their privacy and their health. And so I can only imagine that your business has grown.
It has. There's really more of an interest because of the other pandemic with the social justice issues that people are crying out for diversity, equity, and inclusion workshops. So that aspect of the business has really picked up during this time.
And I like the fact that, you know, unfortunately we're here and we see this ebb and flow of the need for diversity and inclusion, equity. It kind of, you know, it becomes an issue and it kind of dies down, becomes an issue. And unfortunately always becomes an issue with either death or something that major happens, right? But I am encouraged that it's now not just a moment, but it's a movement.
Yes.
Yeah, and now that we have more people like your company and my company and other companies that are in the trenches still pushing it forward, that it will continue to grow and not be put back on the shelf.
Yes, I think the voices are more numerous and they're louder in regards to we need equity.
Yeah, we do need equity, yeah. Explain for those that are listening, what do you mean by equity?
I just really remember this slide that was shown again to me the other day about you can have children outside of a fence on boxes. We can have equality by having the same height of the boxes. But if those children are different sizes and have different special needs, that's not really helping them to engage. But if we have different levels so that they can all be the same height, and if we remove the fence so they can engage, then we have equity.
I love it. I love it. I've seen a couple of different demonstrations, but I think that was one of the best ones. Yeah. So tell us about, so based on your licenses and occupations, you are an occupational therapist.
Correct.
So tell us, how does that play into your business with Small World Solutions?
Sure. There is some overlap. Occupational therapists really focus on what can an individual do in their day following an injury or with a mental illness or a developmental disability. So that runs the gamut from premature infants to the elderly. And we're really focused on, do you want to dress yourself after an accident? Who doesn't? So we're the ones that come in and really help you adapt your environment so you can be successful. We don't consider occupation just your job. It's being able to brush your teeth. It's being able to care for your daughter. So in that training, you're really learning about organizational skills, time management skills, how to adapt. And I would have to say adaptation is a real key in the business, especially during this time of the pandemic.
It really is. It really is.
So some of those skills do overlap, you know, in regards to efficiency. We teach patients how to be efficient with their disability. I'm teaching people how to be efficient on their jobs.
Wow, I like that. Okay, cool. If you could talk to your 25-year-old self, what would you say?
I would say be more of a risk taker and speak up. Let your voice be heard. I had a powerful mother with 5 female siblings. 4 out of 6 of these women were in healthcare, which was great role modeling, but they were very vocal about their needs, and whether that made me feel small, it should have made me rise up. And I think the older I got, the more comfortable I became with being able to speak up, speak out.
Yes.
And so my 25-year-old self was extremely shy. And I would have told her, speak up, speak out more, take more risks.
Yeah, take more risks. So I think, so I've been told this about my daughter, that I have a bright light. I don't know I have a bright light, but they say I have a bright light, right? So when she's with me, she dims her light because my light is bright and there's no need for her to shine her light. And so I'm always going, shine your light, you know, in different ways. Stand up when you talk, assert yourself, when, you know, different things. But when she's alone, I've heard so many people come back and say, wow, Dakota was, you know, she was a leader. She did this, she did that. Her light was just so bright. She was caring, compassionate. I'm like, she's not that with me. And I think when I hear you is that you had all these bright lights around you. So there was really no need for you to shine your light bright. But when you were on your own and you probably put in positions, you were like, wait a minute. I come from a long line of bright light women. Let me dial this up, you know?
I'm so glad that you said that since you're experiencing it now. I, in my 16-year-old world, said I needed to go away to boarding school. I didn't understand why, but that's what helped my light to grow. It grew further in college and graduate school and so forth. But for that year, I developed some of that. Yes, away from my folks.
Away from their bright light. Because no one can really see your light, or you can't develop your light as much because their lights are bright and they're supporting you, they're protecting you, they're encouraging you. And I think that's what happens sometimes. But the biggest thing that I love that you said is to you know your voice and to be able to say what you mean and understand what you want to say, what's important, what's not important, and then being able to own whatever it is that you want to say and stand behind it.
Be comfortable in your skin.
Be comfortable in your skin. A lot of women and entrepreneurs are not comfortable in their skin. It takes adversity and it takes life happening to say, okay, wait a minute, who am I? What am I standing for? What am I going to stand on? And what am I going to waver, right? So, you know, for those that were raised in a faith-based home, it is your faith in whatever your religion is. But for other people who may have not been raised in a faith-based environment, they have to develop a resolve to say, but this is what I stand on. And so we find that even in business owners.
Yes. You know, I can remember clearly the year my mother passed.
I'm sorry.
And I felt, this was in 2000, and I felt, who am I? You know, I really relied on her for support.
Yeah.
So it was actually a crossroads time to say, I'm going to make some decisions for myself, you know, and no one wants their marriage to break up. But that was the impetus. It was like, I want to live the best possible life. And just started making new decisions for myself. So it's hard, losing your mother, losing your marriage, but it could really be a catalyst to make your life the way you felt you should live.
Do you think that when your mom passed, it was, you know what, I need to step back, assess what's going on in my life and how I can be happy because I don't have a lot of time left.
Yes.
You know, the time that I have left, I'm going to enjoy it with people that enjoy me.
That was exactly it.
Yeah. So sometimes we have to, it's like a slingshot. You get pulled back, you're stretched. You're pulled, you're stretched. I mean, you are pulled to the max. You're thinking, how much more can I be pulled? I lost a parent. You know, my relationship is crumbling. How much more can I be pulled back? But like a slingshot, you pull it back. The further you pull it back, the further it projects forward.
Yes, absolutely.
And look at you standing here now. Married and remarried with the love that you guys are now have a relationship and a business that's growing. Your territory is increasing.
Yes.
Together.
God uses all of our adversity and can turn it for something good if we're open to that.
Open. You have to surrender all.
Yeah.
I've learned.
And be patient.
And patience is a virtue.
Yes, I didn't get remarried until 2 years ago.
Wow. And in that season, in that valley, you were working on you.
Yes.
Yeah, you were raising a child.
Yes.
And you just were, you know, building a career.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a good thing.
It was. It worked. It worked well. I didn't anticipate getting married again. So sometimes it's not what you expect that will cross your path.
That's not. Yeah, but you have to be ready for the unexpected in life.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially as an entrepreneur or someone that's leading an organization. Because every day leading an organization, this is for my women that are leading organizations, every day is different. But what we do know, the only thing constant about business is change.
Yes.
So you have to be ready for adversity and change.
Yes, that's that adaptability again.
Yeah. All right, so I want to ask you one last question. If there is something that you can give to our entrepreneurs and to our women in leadership, what would be one key or two key advice that you would give them?
A text, actually. 1 Timothy 1:7, God's not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. I feel that text carries me. Doesn't matter the situation. You know, if I'm going to be steeped in fear, I can't move forward. So let's put fear aside because it's not God-given. But He has given us power, love, and a sound mind. Those three things can help us transcend any issue. Any issue.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and then to believe in yourself.
That's the hardest thing. Finding out who you are and then believing in that person.
Yeah.
Take the time, take the journey, if you have to go back like the slingshot, and find out who you are and what makes you happy.
Yes, and if I were to add a third, it would be find women to emulate.
Yeah.
There's so much negativity around us. Attach yourself to positivity.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the thing that when you with that scripture is that when I hear fear, it's the false evidence of appearing real. We make up things to be fearful of.
Yes.
It's another scripture to say don't worry, don't stress about. Now I know the Bible enough to know the context, but not the exact words. So I'm gonna say this: today don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will bring its own challenges. Focus on today and making it through today, because if you're stressed about tomorrow, then you'll have additional issues tomorrow, right? So what can you do today to be successful today, to not create unnecessary things to worry about when you're running a business, when you're in a relationship, when you're dealing with life today?
Yes, because we can do it to ourselves.
Sabotage ourselves. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you. So good to be here.
How can we support you?
I think if you have a need for enhancing your workplace environment, please give us a call, 954-483-7418, or smallworldsolutions2018@gmail.com.
And we will put that over the overlays. Thank you for being here. Thank you for thinking it not robbery to come and be here.
Yes,
I
yes.
appreciate
And
that.
continued prayers for our businesses.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's mission work. And when you're doing mission work, it will grow.
Yes.
It will grow.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to go into our next sponsor break. It is sponsored by 3D Strategic Management, which is the company that I'm CEO of. It's important not only that I host, but I also put my money where my mouth is and be a sponsor. So I'm excited that we're able to sponsor this again for the second year and have phenomenal women like Sandy here beside me. I know that you learned a lot, and we will be right back after this commercial break.
3D Strategic Management is a full-service business development and community relations firm. 3D Strategic Management has worked on initiatives with the African American Chamber of Commerce, Orange County Public Schools, Duke Energy, and U.S. Department of Commerce. Recognized as a minority business advocate, 3D Strategic Management has conducted hundreds of presentations on business development and on how to do business with various entities in Florida.
It's very important to be an advocate for a small business, and particularly those that don't know they have a voice. I have 22 years of experience of understanding what small businesses need to be successful. I also have been blessed with the opportunity to know what corporations and private entities are looking for from these small businesses.
All right, so we're back, and thank you again, 3D Strategic Management. Not only myself, I mentioned earlier, but also the entire team. We have offices in North and Central Florida. We provide business development services to minority and small businesses, as well as veteran-owned businesses. So if you're looking for a business coach to help grow your business, Women Empowerment Wednesday is just one of the initiatives we reach our small and diverse businesses. So again, we have team members in Tallahassee, Pensacola, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, and Sarasota. So if you're in North and Central Florida, in particular, you can meet one of our team members. But if you're somewhere in the United States, we can do a virtual meeting with you to discuss your business and see how we can help your business grow. Last year, we had over 249 clients. This year, projected to have 340, and we're growing through the various services that we provide for free. That's right, for free. So let's get into it, the recap. So today, did you see these women that were sitting next to me and the things that they were giving? I'm gonna give you 3 things that I have. Empowered women empower women. That's one of the nuggets that I have from today. Each one of them talked about a woman that was able to pour into them, and now they can see now that they are strong women. Most of them talked about their mothers or someone that they came in contact with through their time period. It's important that as you're growing your business, you reach back and you find someone else, because they will carry on your legacy as well as their legacy. So, empowered women empower women. We encourage each other and we lift each other up. Women Empowerment Wednesday. The second nugget is you have to let go of some things in life. You're going to have some major challenges, but they will catapult you. So as you're going through trials, it's like a slingshot. You're going through trials and tribulations and hardship and death and loss of a marriage and rejection and all of these things that are pulling you back. The more that it pulls you back, the faster you're going to catapult forward. So we heard from someone that lost a mother and a spouse at the same time. We had someone that was going through some other challenges. We had another person who was in a household where her mom was not even able to have an education, was not allowed to have education. And she went and got a law degree, and she sat on several boards, and it was appointed to boards by the governor. So sometimes we have those things. The third thing that I have is that you have to get in touch with your passion. If you are an entrepreneur or if you work for a corporation, you must know your passion, because your passion fuels your purpose. It's the thing that you love to do. And if you're doing what you love to do every day, it's going to be overall a pretty good day. Will you have trials and tribulations? Absolutely. I can tell you as a business owner, I love growing and impacting small and diverse businesses. Are there days where I have challenges? Yes. But am I happy overall with what we're doing with 3D strategic management? I'm very happy. So take some time, get centered, find your passion. And now you may say, well, I'm selling jewelry. I'm selling, jewelry, right? Okay, is selling the jewelry your passion, or is it when you sell the jewelry, you make someone feel good about themselves? Or is it that you like styling, and so the jewelry, you're able to help them pick the right jewelry, right? So you have to look at not necessarily the transaction, but look at and focus on what do you love to do about the sale or the service. And so I want to say that those are the nuggets that I got. I'm sure you got a lot more. Continue to stay with us, and we will be back in October. So thank you so much for watching today, and we appreciate you for your support.